everybody, this is Sam, the head of the Adara Academy. Welcome to another daily episode. Pavel says hello. Vaughn says hello. We're all here. We're in the office. Give a big one up. Leave a like. Leave some comments. Slam that like button. So here we are today. We're going to talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is pretty flat. A nice consolidation period here. It seems like we're trending lower and probably will close the gap in the next day or two. So this is down to like 8,800, which seems about right. I mean, look at the most traded price is 9,465 since we've been at these higher levels. Let me go to like a 5-day chart so we can check this out. And here we can see some pretty evident barriers, really interesting price levels. So this lower price level, which we've at 9,215, is pretty strong. And also the upper, well, there is no, let's just take the upper part of the value area. So this one as well. So 9,600. It's really the two defining price levels that have formed this channel. And we seem to be filling out the volume heavily through here. I personally expect that we'll close the gap in the next day or two. It doesn't seem that there's any more bullish news, if you want to call it like that. And so again, like I'd be looking at this 8,200, what, 8763 or 8663 as closing the gap. Up until then, it's just more consolidation in this upper area between 9,200 and 9,600. One thing that I've been interested in over the past few days is ETH BTC. So we'll just pull up ETH BTC. I think that there could be some, let's throw it long here. So I think there could be this was a bottoming event, potentially. I've been looking for a long-term turnaround in the price of Ethereum, and it's been pretty strong after the beginning of September. I'm really looking forward for this strength to continue. I mean, this is a continued downtrend that we've been in for pretty much since the middle of 2017. I'm really looking forward this trend to end. And let's get rid of the log. The 1-year price. So the 1-year fair price for BTC is like 0.25. ETH BTC is right around this 0.25 area. You can see that there was heavy selling going on here. So may need to fill out this a bit more, this area. Let's take a look at the 5-year though. On the weekly though, you can see that we're pretty much trading at fair value on a longer time frame, going back to July of 2016. That this 18.018 is roughly fair value. What I would like to see is a pushback up to the top of the value area, which is 0.054. But I think there'd have to be some significant change in the structure of what Ethereum is doing. Maybe they'll release their ETH 2.0 update, but that would probably coincide with going back to the top of value area here, which is around $330, or maybe even a bit up more to $450 on the long term. On the short term, though, really nice consolidation here, sloping downwards, sloping consolidation. Pretty much trading fair price is what, 172. So I'm waiting to see. I've got a ETH position right now, but I'm waiting to see if we come back down and we can touch this 172 or even 160 area again. It was a really nice place to build up some longs there. But again, the 1-year price, still the 1-year most traded price is 135. It may get eclipsed by 172 if we have a long consolidation period here, but only time will tell. Really, here we can take the top of the channel. We can look at channels here. Top of the value area, it'd be here at $215 on the 1 year, and then looking at this 30% right here at 148 or 150, anywhere around there. This is the channel that we're trending in right now. So those are the kind of the extreme price levels that I would be waiting for, either to look for shorts or to look for buy. So let's hop over to some other things that have been happening. So Argentina imposes further capital controls, sharply cuts USD buying. So previously you could buy up to $10,000 a month in dollars, and now you can only buy 200. And for those of you who aren't or haven't been to developing countries or countries where the banking system isn't the same as Western Europe or the United States, dollars are what is desired. It's when things get bad, when there's a lot of volatility with a certain currency, people flock to dollars or euros, one of the two, and gold as well too, because they want the stability of the asset. That if the inflation rate for a country is 15% or 50%, what they're looking for is the dollar, because even though the dollar may have a 2% inflation rate, it is much stronger in comparison to these other weaker currencies, which are inflating by 50 or 20, however many percent a year. So the dollar is really the place to be in. And so this has really formed my thesis going forward that DeFi is going to be very, very big. Sean Ryan Adams talked about this. There was a speech given by Mariano Conti who's an Ethereum developer, and he lives in Argentina, and they've been suffering 55% inflation this year. And one of the things that he's been using is DAI, which is a decentralized stablecoin to actually live and work and save money in. And essentially, he's saving in dollars. He's not saving in ETH. Well, I mean, he is saving in ETH because he's buying ETH and then converting it to DAI. But what people want to use on a day-to-day basis is not Ethereum. It's not Bitcoin. Those are assets that people have this idea that they should hold, and instead they want to have dollars, and that's what you can get with DAI. So what he does with his paycheck, he has an off-ramp into ARS every month, which is the Argentinian peso. He also pays his rent, pays his credit card, and stays as close to as little fiat as possible. Buys some ETH, loans some DAI out, so gets DAI, and then puts it into saving into Compound and DXDY, which is a decentralized leverage exchange. And then also can earn interest as in DAI, but obviously there's risks, but it's less risk than having a currency which is inflating at 50% year on year. The other big news story that happened is all of the drama surrounding Bitmain. So Bitmain secretly files for US IPO with the SEC. Deutsche Bank is the sponsor, and they are looking to raise $300 to $500 million in the US offering. For those of you that don't remember, Bitmain raised money previously to get listed on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. They raised $3 billion. And they raised it at a $14 billion valuation. And they did this pretty much at the top of the market. They raised a lot of money. And then the market crashed and their valuation dropped probably down to like the $2 or $3 billion range. So all the investors that were putting in untold amounts of money at the top really got screwed. And so I mean, this is just a small news story if they didn't have so much drama going on. So I wanted to, in connection with the filing, you also had news coming out that Jihan Wu, who's one of the larger shareholders of Bitmain, took over the company in what can be considered to be a coup and kicked out Mike Zhan, who's the largest shareholder of Bitmain in China. So he did this by essentially cutting off, going around to all the employees internally and all the investors and just working out a coup. He said that, I mean, it's being reported that Micro is being forced out. He's the majority shareholder. So Jihan had this interesting power play by working the staff, going around to them and then essentially saying anybody that's siding with Micree is going to get fired. Fired the HR director and then fired out a bunch of emails saying that nobody was going to talk to Micree anymore or have any connection. They also cut off his company email. And so it wasn't done with, or it's thought, at least by Samson Mao, that it wasn't done with investor or shareholder approval because the change was super messy. And it's still really messy as well, too. W1 calls it a coup. BTC King 555 said, Insider says Micree was completely surprised by this coup and is threatening major legal action against Jahan. And meanwhile, Bitmain is losing technological edge with Shenma and Silicon making great market share gains, which is true. And yeah, so W1 says that normal investors will not trust them. The lawsuit will follow, which is going to screw up their IPO plans, and Bitmain customers won't trust them as well. But they're being forced because Avalon, another mining production company that produces the mining units, is filing for IPO in the United States. So Bitmain needs to stay competitive and file their IPO. It's just huge drama coming out. It's wonderful. Wonderful to see. I guess the big news is that Micree, where is this? Micree has 1.6 million Bitcoin cash, and he is considering dumping it all back to Bitcoin. And Bitmain was one of the main drivers of the split of Bitcoin Cash off from Bitcoin 3 years ago almost. So there was a collective of CSW, of Jihan Wu, and then also Roger Ver, who pulled their Bitcoin out and essentially, I didn't pull their Bitcoin out, but it's created this political tension, forked off into Bitcoin Cash, and then sold all of their Bitcoin for Bitcoin Cash, which turned out to be a really bad decision, as Bitcoin Cash then lost 74% or even 80% of its value. It hasn't really recovered in the way that Bitcoin has, and the hash rate never increased, and Bitcoin Cash has really not been able to take market share away from the main Bitcoin chain. So all of this happening now kind of I think probably will throw a wrench in the IPO plans for Bitmain going into the United States. If they're facing a huge lawsuit from their majority shareholder, I'm not really sure how the SEC regulators are going to look on that, or the other institutional investors who are going to be asked to give $300 to $500 million for funding the company to do their IPO. So that's going to wrap it up for today. I am Sam from the Adara Academy. Make sure you smash that like button, smash it hard, and we'll be back tomorrow.